Welcome to another episode of Marketing Tips for Doctors. I'm your host, Dr. Barbara Hales. Today, we have with us Steve Kidd. Steve's big heart is what sets him apart. An international best-selling author of more than 20 books and a third-generation minister, he fills the world with hope and God's energy. A diamond that shines through each person he brings growth to, and a diamond that is a living and breathing, growing spirit that blooms through each one. He doesn't need to shine or be seen. He is seen through everything he touches. The best in the world at seeing the up level, the next, the more. He is the extreme visionary, living a life of purpose and a vision that sees beyond the bleeding edge of what is coming next to the air being sliced through in front of it. If you want insight into trends, projecting, and possibilities coming before it even seems possible, Steve is your guy. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Thanks so much for having me, Barbara. I appreciate it.
So, Steve, one of your talents is that you help people create books or launch their books so that they can promote their services. Tell us about your process.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I work with people all the way from I don't have a clue what I'm going to do all the way to they've had a book for as much as I think 20 years is about the oldest book that I've worked with to help them market it to bestseller. But yeah, we work with a person to help them determine who they're going to write, what they're going to write and who they're writing it to, put that together into a book form, do it via interview because all busy professionals are too busy to sit down and put pen to paper or type things out. And so just simply being able to take the time and talk and have others come in and put that together for you makes a huge difference in your ability to actually put your book out. And then we have story development editors, grammar editors, graphics people, formatters for, ebook and print form. And then most importantly, we have a program for helping you become a best-selling author. We absolutely guarantee it. We've done it thousands upon thousands of times with 100% success rate. And the really cool part about those thousands of people is that equates to literally millions of people that their messages have reached. And that's pretty cool.
Well, that's pretty impressive. Are you ghostwriting or are you putting them together with ghostwriters from your team?
I shy away from the phrase ghostwriting because a typical ghostwriter is going to do some type of an interview process, but then they write it in their voice and their style. I rather am conducting an interview and helping the person through their words put together a book that is very much in their voice, sounds like them and is them versus being the ghostwriter. So we do it all via interview and an editor people, but we don't actually have a ghostwriters specifically that's just going to take your germ of an idea and run with it and make it really essentially theirs.
How long does that process take?
It doesn't take very long at all, actually. Usually it's about a 30-day process. It really honestly, if you go more than about 90 days in the creation of your book, it means that other things are happening in your life. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It could be that you fell in love and got married or had a new baby or those kind of things. But all of those good and bad life events, they, mess with our schedules. But, as far as just in general, 90 days is the longest it should ever take for you to go from no idea to completely done book and have it be on the bestseller list.
What platform are you publishing the books on?
I focus exclusively on Amazon. Number one, Amazon sells in a high 90 percentile of all books that are sold in the world now. So if you want to sell books, in this day and age, you want to be Amazon's BFF. But when it comes to their bestseller list, they're the only statistically driven bestseller list that I know, meaning that if a book is at number 2 and another book is at number 3, the book at number 2 sold more copies of the book during that time frame. Now, it is a little bit more volatile list than some of the others, but when you start looking at like the New York Times or other ones like that, those are editorials. They take information of wholesale purchases by companies like Walmart or Sam's Club or things like that. And then they literally just write an editorial on out of that list who they believe the best selling books are. And there's a lot of criterias for, and a lot of people that, I've heard thousands upon thousands of stories of people who statistically they were on the bestseller list, but they didn't get included. And again, because it's wholesale purchases, that has no direct comparison to who got the book or who read the book. So we focus primarily, totally on Amazon because we want to do something that's for real for you.
Is your book promotion through social media?
We do a combination of social media, paid marketing, organic trafficking, email, all of those kind of things, so that we can, really get the start going. And then there's beyond after because, bestseller is only the beginning. Your book should be bestseller really on day one. And then there's a whole bunch of additional marketing things that we can do, building your community and your fan base so that your book really continues to sell. If the sale of your book is what's important. And sometimes, the book is just building a really great foundation for the thing that really is important.
And if someone has no clue as to what they should put out on their book, what their topic should be that would best reflect who they are or the services that they provide, I assume then that you talk it through with them to discover what that would be.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun for me, is to talk about what are you passionate about? What are the things that you would say? What are the things that you always do say? And helping them really discover, the book that's inside of them, or what should be the first of all the books that are inside of them to come out.
How did you get into this, Steve?
Well, as far as specifically books go, in 2007, the lady that I was then married to and my second youngest daughter were huge fans of the movie Twilight, if you remember that movie. And they actually, because we lived near where the first movie was filmed, they went on a mother-daughter trip for my daughter's 18th birthday, visiting all of the filming sites for Twilight and blogging about their journey and stuff. And that grew into not just a book or not just a blog, but into a full book. And I helped them put that together into print format and publish it. And it was actually at one point the #1 best-selling movie-related travel guide on Amazon.
I see. Now, I understand that with the success of some books, you're able to get people on some TV programs. Tell us about that.
So it's just such a night and day difference between, having nothing. I think of Dr. Alicia Griffith because that I know specifically is one of the examples I gave you. Dr. Alicia Griffith is a medical doctor. She's an audiologist. She's been in that field for 20 years. Interestingly, and dealing almost primarily with kids with autism. And the interesting part is 10 years into her medical journey, her son that was born autistic. So she has a very practical, real world life experience in it. But nobody knew who she was. And we helped her put together a book about the amazing gift that is her son. And then began to show her how to be able to market that. She was first on TBN, and the interviewer pretty well held the book up for the camera to see almost the entire half an hour, I think the interview was in that particular one. And then she was invited to be on Good Morning America. And, segments on Good Morning America are like, 3 to 5 minutes. And they talked all about her, her book and all the things that she does with autistic children. But as she said many times over, she's gotten more out of being a best-selling author than she is out of having been a doctor in her same field for 20 years.
I can imagine that. As I tell a lot of my clients, if everything is equal and there are 10 colleagues in the room doing the same thing, who is the prospective patient going to choose? And it's going to be the person that wrote the book, because obviously the perception is that they are the ones that are the authority in the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when a person goes through this process with you and they have the best-selling book, is that where you're Is that where your services end, or do they go on for other things?
So, I mean, ultimately, we're a marketing company with a strong publishing division. I've been a marketing company since 1988. We were early adopters in digital marketing and internet space. In fact, the internet didn't exist back when we were doing that to begin with. So, for quite a while. Yeah, I mean, we have everything. I like to call it publishing to bestseller and beyond. So, there are a lot of things, and it's really about having a program and an understanding of what you really want to do. I mean, yes, you can sell books and you can make anywhere from $1 to $5 depending on margins with your book. But it takes a long time at, let's even say, $5 a time to make $1,000, let alone 10,000 or, substantial money, versus if you create a course as one example, or if you did speaking gigs or those kind of things, where you're getting paid thousands of dollars for each one of the clients that you convert into a sale. It's about the same amount of effort, but it's definitely a much more maximized way of bringing in revenue for your time.
Do you help your writers get on stages?
Absolutely. Yeah. On podcasts, on virtual and live stages. I have a specific contractor that I work with that her whole entire forte is just literally getting people on the bigger TV shows, Steve Harvey, Good Morning America, all of those. And, she comes actually from a Hollywood background and knows all the ins and outs of that. And that's all that her business does. And she's a contractor that works with me, and I send my clients that want to be in that realm over to work with her.
Well, that's all really very impressive. So, because we're talking about marketing, how is it that people find out about you and your services?
Well, of course, I'm doing a lot of podcasts these days so that I can share with people. But specifically, if they want to look at my company, you go to thrivingbestsellers.com. And we have our whole process from done for you to done with you to taught to you. And then, of course, if you already have a book, the Marketing You program, thrivingbestsellers.com, that's our website.
What is one key tip that you could give our listeners today that they could implement right away?
Can I give them two?
Okay, give two.
So the number one piece of it is somebody's waiting on you. There is somebody who needs who you are, what you do in the world, your specifics, your specialty. They need you to be the one that does what you do for them. It's especially true because I know your main listening audience is doctors. That specialty that you spent so much of your life becoming an expert at, somebody really needs you, but they need to understand that you exist and who you are. Which brings me to my part B, or my second suggestion, and that's you will never maximize the marketing to its fullest potential in any marketing you do for yourself in your business if you do not have along with that bestseller. It is the number one marketing credential, number one influencer credential, if you will, in the world right now today. And it adds an instant credibility. So when you say, like you said, I need a doctor, a whole room full of doctors, but this one is the guy who wrote the book on it. Even something as simple as you put out an article in whatever magazine, whether it's a trade specific doctor related trade magazine or it's something more for lay people, when that article is written by the best-selling author of the book, such and such, or just even best-selling author, Dr. So-and-so, it makes just a night and day difference between the impact as well as the saleability of that if you want to, get published.
Absolutely. Well, you and I are on the same wavelength. I totally agree with you. If there are listeners that would like to, reach you and discuss your services further, what is the best way to do that?
Well, I made it really easy for you. I love giving people gifts. So I created a free gift for everybody that's listening today. If you go to ongoingwealthguide.com, that's ongoingwealthguide.com, there is a 5-step process for really being able to create a process so that the abundance in your life is continuous. Included in that is a link to my signature Write Your Bestseller in 1 Hour workshop that you can just listen to and write your book. But most importantly, I mean, that's free. Most importantly, when you get to the thank you page, there's a link there, and you can schedule a free call to talk with me, and we can talk about, well, really anything you want to, but specifically about your book and your marketing and what we can do to help you in the process.
Well, that is fantastic. Thank you so much for being on the show, Steve. This is Steve Kidd that we've been talking to with 2Ds. And, I've really enjoyed speaking with you. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having me, Barbara.
This has been another episode of Marketing Tips for Doctors with your host, Dr. Barbara Hales. Till next time.